Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spurs from the Stands. How are you all doing today? Excited for the World Cup in just over a week's time? Are we excited about all of these transfer news, views, and clues, as Sean Butler would say? Because, of course, the rumour mill has just begun. It hasn't even properly got into it yet. And, guys, I just counted and there's 36 names that I've collated. That's very posh of me. Collated so far in terms of transfer links and who potentially could be coming in and going out this summer transfer window. Big up to you all jumping in. Hello, I'm just making sure that we're all set up. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? um so guys, there's a lot to get through today. I think I'm running live. I think I am. I realised this was a bit of an impromptu one. So big up to you. Oh, hi, Niall. Big up. You can hear me. Fantastic. Fantastic. Good stuff, guys. How are you all doing today? I missed you guys. I felt like, there's no football on at the moment other than these World Cup friendlies, which of course are taking place very, very late in the evening at the moment. So, goodness, I don't know what we're going to do in the World Cup. I've been thinking, should we do a watch along? But some of them might be 3 in the morning. So, there's going to be lots of stuff coming up. Of course, Croatia do kick off at 5 o'clock today. So, if we are still live, I'll be keeping an eye on that one because, of course, Luka Viskovic. Let me just check if Luka Viskovic is in the starting. Luka Viskovic is in the starting lineup. So, and our honorary Modric, if we want to be following him. So that game is at 5 o'clock today. So we'll just keep an eye on that to see what is going on in that game as we go through this live. Hello, hey guys jumping in. Hey Agent Tapster, big up to you. Hey Rocco, hey guys jumping in. Right. There is some stuff that we want to go through. I want to do today some of your reactions. So there has been a lot of just conversations going on in the chats about some of the names that have been coming out. So I wanted to take the opportunity to share what you guys have been thinking about some of these transfers that have been coming out, some of the people in the squad that you definitely don't want to get rid of, and then we'll dive into basically what I've been doing is because loads of names have been coming out over the last couple of days, and as I said before, my first summer transfer window, I like a bit of structure to things. So I've tried to sort of look at every different position that we've been linked with and the players in those positions to get a better sense of, how many players are actually linked, what is the most likely positions that we're looking at, because in an ideal world we would have a huge restructuring, but in reality you can't get rid of 25 players in one transfer window, albeit we know that Roberto De Zerbi said himself that only 12 players will be good enough to go forward in this squad. So there is also some stuff around Spurs that I want to touch on today in terms of sponsorships, and that came from Ali Gold. But first up, let's dive in, guys. First up, I know you guys are so excited about the World Cup, and I thought I'd ruffle some feathers. I thought we'd ruffle some feathers before we begin the live stream. So I want to know, guys, if you are awake and alive in the chat, because, of course, Tottenham Hotspur always making headlines, and we've managed to scapegoat it quite a lot recently because, of course, with all the Arsenal drama and them lot kicking off about the fact that everyone is bantering them for losing out in the Champions League, it's gone very quiet on the Spurs front. So we'll just fuel this one a little bit more, guys. I want to know, will you be watching the BBC or ITV come the World Cup next week? Because the two pundits, in case you guys haven't seen, that have been named are, of course, Ange Postecoglou and Thomas Frank. So Thomas Frank is going to be on the BBC and Ange Postecoglou is going to be covering the World Cup on ITV. So what a treat we are in for this World Cup. Let me know, guys, who will you be listening to? I mean, go figure that Frank would be on the BBC, right? But I'd love to know. Hey, Roy, big up to you, Roy. Yeah, but let me know, guys, just out of a bit of fun, really. I'm just curious whether people will be tuning in. I know I did do a poll in the community tab a couple of months ago. We had about 400 votes on it. 75% of you said that you do watch the World Cup, and 25% of you said that you don't. Some of you said that you like watching the World Cup, but you don't support England. So we are a global audience. So I'm sure some of you here don't always support England or don't support England at all. Maybe there's some other um, uh, international teams that you support. So I'd love to hear, who are you guys supporting this World Cup? And if you're not in the UK, maybe you're very lucky that you don't have to listen to either Frank or Postecoglou this World Cup. In other news, this was quite an interesting one that I wanted to throw in here, guys. And you guys know that I also like to look like outside of Spurs and get a better sense of like what's going on in like the football world in general. And there was an interview with Bruno Fernandes on the Diary of a CEO. I am curious if anyone in this community has watched it, because it's an hour and a half. It's quite a long one, as is the Diary of a CEO. I do watch it occasionally. The only other footballer I've actually watched on Diary of a CEO was Ivan Toney. And that was a very, very interesting conversation as well, because it was all about his betting scandal and everything. But I just wanted to bring up the Bruno Fernandes story because it was very interesting about, it was very interesting him talking that he was actually going to come to Spurs, and that deal fell through, but his club that he always wanted to go to was Man United. So this was just a very interesting insight into just players in general and transfer windows, because he spoke about how clubs need to have club signings and the importance of club signings, which I thought was really, really interesting, given the fact that one of the reasons why Tottenham Hotspur is scrutinised so much is because we regularly buy these club signings that aren't fit for the manager, or they're not fit for purpose. And something Bruno Fernandes was saying on this interview was, at the end of the day, managers are at clubs usually for like a 2-3 year contract. We know De Zerbi's for a 5 year, but he was talking generally about, from his perspective. And he was saying that typically players are signed for 5 years. And so for that reason, that's why very commonly you see that a lot of players signed to clubs are club signings. So if anyone's interested, I'm putting it out there, just sharing it if anyone wants to have a little watch of this one. And actually, I was quite surprised. He's a very likable guy, actually. I mean, despite the fact that obviously he's from a rival club, but it was a very interesting conversation. And guys, I will come back to the chat. Yes, Rashford, I know we are going to circle back to all of this. We are going to circle back to all of this. But yeah, keep it coming, guys. If you do hear of anything dropping, definitely do drop it in the chat. And if you are new around here, please do like, subscribe, comment and share, because it definitely does help the channel. And we are currently, I think, about 70 subs away from 6K, something like that. So greatly appreciated. Anyway, Alistair Gold has been reporting today about the shirt sponsorship and the stadium naming rights and the problems at Tottenham Hotspur. So speculatively, what we know so far is the AIA deal, which is currently the front of shirt sponsor at Spurs, is ending in the 27-28 season. Now, because the club has been underperforming, they are going to be, well, not because they're underperforming, but they are going to become the global partnership sponsor of Spurs after that 27-28, which most of us are very relieved about because we hate the red on the shirt. And it is about to thunderstorm, and so it's just got very dark. So if it gets very dark, I'll stick the light on if you guys are struggling to see me. I can see the clouds looming over. Oh my goodness, it's coming. So the news on this front is that because the club is underperforming at the moment, that it's speculated that they've shaved off essentially what they're expecting, around about 20 million on the front of shirt sponsor deal. I believe at the moment this deal is about 40 million. I think it was about 40 million. I've actually forgotten off the top of my head. But the speculation on this front is that they are going to struggle to get new naming rights for the front of shirt sponsor, which to be honest with you, I'm not really surprised about. We kind of speculated this. So the current deal is reportedly worth 40 million a season, and that has been extended until 2037. So AIA will still be the sponsor until 2032, should I say. So it's another 6 years. That is in replacement of this front of shirt sponsor. So it's open and up for grabs who is going to be sponsoring the shirt after next season. However, it's speculated that there is a 40% drop because we finished 17th twice in a row. So I'm not surprised about this. And this is the problem when you're underperforming as a club, because less and less sponsors want to come in. However, we are still a big club. We do still have the television rights and everything. We do still have a global coverage. So I would be very surprised if they can't manage to get a new sponsorship. But the value has fallen from 49 million last season to 29 million this season. So that is a huge drop. If you think about it, if we're going to talk about players in this video and we're going to talk about, two players that are worth 20 million each, realistically, that is the difference between this sponsorship deal. So in terms of, the money coming into the club, it sounds minor, but it could be quite devastating in the long term, because it's not just 1 year. This is going to be like a 5-10 year deal, right? As the Nike deal was 10 years, this could be a very, very long-term investment or sponsorship deal. So it would be a really big loss if 20 million a year was shaved off. And I am going to have to turn on the light because it's just looked like it's midnight in here. Hold on. Right, and if it is going to thunder, I might have to close some windows. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, what horrible lighting. Oh gosh, hold on. Ugh. English thunderstorm incoming. English thunderstorm incoming. Right, guys. So, yeah, the update on this one, as Alistair Gold was reporting earlier today, is that there is going to be less sponsorship money available if they can't find someone for the front of shirt sponsor for the end of next season. So, moving on. Some of your reactions over the last few days. Big up to you all jumping in. I probably should close the window because it is just about to start pouring. But I just want to give a massive thanks and shout out to you guys that gave thanks on the videos. There's been a couple of these over the last few days, and it really, really is greatly appreciated. So thank you very much for all your support on the channel. And what's someone saying? Lightning was fine. Yeah, it's probably going to flash in a minute because the lightning is incoming, guys. It is incoming. But big up to you, Paul. Thank you very much for your support on the channel. Some of your reactions. So I mentioned that because of course I mentioned that we have this international community here, which is great to see. And something was very interesting was Dave was sharing the other day that we here in Sydney, so big up to you jumping in from Sydney, said they say that Archie Gray to Liverpool, James Maddison on the market, which is very interesting. I haven't seen anything like speculation around James Maddison. So it is very interesting that in different markets, how different players are promoted and put out to the press, and I've seen people write in the comments over the last few days from Spain, from Portugal, from other countries in Europe who've been sharing something similar. So I am interested, guys, if you're not in the UK and you're hearing any other stories to maybe what we might be hearing over here, it's always very interesting to get the full picture, because I don't have eyes in the back of my head like most of us. I'm just looking at what's going on online, usually in English. So, of course, a lot of news are reported in Italian and French, etc., etc. But the other news was Porro going to Man United. So, of course, we heard Porro was linked to Man City. So that's an interesting one. Simmons and Gallagher on the market as they won't fit in the end. Plus, most of the youngsters out on loan will be sold. So this is, look, I don't know if Dave, are you trolling us, Dave? Are you trolling us? I don't know if you're trolling us, but yeah, the speculation is obviously very different internationally to what it is here. And I am going to have to just close the window because it has just started absolutely bucking it. So 2 seconds. I knew that was going to happen. I knew that was going to happen, guys. Just as soon as I started streaming, I knew it was going to start pouring. Anyway, so my point here is it's very interesting to see what's going on around the world and other outlets. I don't think that Madison is going anywhere. Gallagher, I'm not sure if he is going to be a long-term signing for De Zerbi, but considering we just signed him, I think he is a club signing, Gallagher. I can't see him going anywhere this summer transfer window. And we heard from Vinay's mouth to our ears, he said that this is going to be, you know, a few seasons in terms of the turnover of the squad. So I wouldn't say, there's the lightning. There's the lightning. I wouldn't say that Simmons definitely isn't going to go this summer. The guy's injured. He's not going anywhere. And Gallagher, I would say that he's probably sticking around at least for another season. But we can see after that. In terms of Porro, I wouldn't be surprised if we want to get some money back for him. 2 years left on his contract, as we discussed. And Archie Gray and Bergvall were both two names that you guys got very riled up over the last couple of videos, which we'll go through. F Wolf 3347 said Jimenez couldn't score in 16 games. A new Janssen. Savinho, no to him, please. And there's a lot of you in the chat saying no to Savinho. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Savinho because the rumours today are that it is getting closer and there is almost a deal agreed with Savinho for what is now speculated to be, I've even seen as low as 40 million. So we started off 60 to 70 million Savinho conversations. Then it went to about 50 million. And then I saw some speculation today around 40 million. So I think we're realistically looking probably about that 50 million mark. So that would make sense if Porro is also looking at around 50 million, although I think Porro is probably worth more to us. So if they can get Porro to renew the contract and Savinho to come in, I don't think Savinho is the worst option because we do need a stopgap for that right-hand side. And long term, I personally am not convinced on Kudus. Let me know, guys. Are you guys happy about Kudus? I know Kudus is injured. I think Odebear or Kudus long term is not going to be a long term solution. So, oh my gosh, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, hide! It's thunder. Oh my goodness, hold on. Wow, that's some loud thunder. I don't know if anyone can hear it or if anyone's getting rain as well. But anyway, yes, so Jimenez, according to F Wolf, Jimenez can't score and he said nothing will change about Spurs while Enoch own it. And there have been a lot of you guys talking about Enoch in the comments over the last few days. All hot, sir. It's being proved with these club signings. Roberto De Zerbi will walk, I presume that's walk, when he gets his quick save players and excuses from the board. I wish I could show you outside now, guys. It's hailing. It's hailing. Bloody hell. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna get distracted by the noise. So the point on this one was because, as I said before, that interview with Fernandez was very interesting. And it's very similar to this because he was saying that like you need club signings at the end of the day. So very interesting comparisons. But a lot of you were saying no to Savinho. A lot of you were saying no to Savinho. What are you guys saying in the chat? What are you guys saying in the chat? Is it rate? Is it thunderstorming where anyone else is? It's bloody loud. What are you guys saying? 36 names, only one will be signed last minute. Well, we are moving quite fast in the transfer window. You know, we already have Senesi, we already have Robertson, and Savinho could be done in the next few days. So that would suggest to me that they are moving quite quick out of the blocks. I would say that they are moving faster. I mean, when have we ever had two players signed in May? It's never happened. Well, it probably has happened, but not to my memory, it hasn't. You use the King Solomon magic wisdom on our UCL final. What does that mean? What does that mean? You use that King Solomon. I don't know what that means. It's all smoke and mirrors and should be taken with a pinch of salt. Exactly. I've seen a lot of people getting very upset about the Paulinho situation. So 100%. Whatever regards to transfer windows, Spurs, can you guys see the lightning? I don't know if you guys can see the lightning. Whatever regards transfer windows, Spurs need rid of most of the players involved in the 17th and 17th debacle. Season before we finished 5th. So these players are better than they are showing right now, but they are not good enough to take us to European football. You know, under De Zerbi next year, if we start the season the way that we finished it, I do think we finish mid-table. I do think that. But to really kick on and push on, we definitely need more. 100%. We're all in agreement with that. Casting black magic on Arsenal. I don't know what that means. I wish I had some voodoo stick, then I'd let Enoch go and I'd make some good signings. I will watch Ange, but for God's sake, Frank, never. I know, Callie. I know. What a treat for the World Cup. I know, right? I know. Yeah, I think it's going to be ITV for me as well. To be fair, I don't really mind Ange as a pundit. Not so much. Well, as a manager in the first season, maybe winning the Europa League, but yeah, Frank, I can't bear listening to him, to be honest. So yeah. All of our strikers need to be sold. They are not good enough. I would imagine that Richarlison will be out the door. I would imagine, and also Richarlison, also Banter FC, posting that little kid crying after Arsenal also bottled it as well the other day. So Richie's definitely Spurs through and through, but he's got 1 year left on his contract. So realistically, I would say you're looking at Dane Scarlett going out for sale. You're looking at Richarlison going out for sale. I think you keep Dom Solanke maybe as a second striker with Lancashire as a third, and then you get in a main striker, and then hopefully by next season Lancashire is a year on, he's got a year under his belt in the Premier League, and then you can start kicking on. I don't think you can make so many changes. Look, I don't know, maybe he is going to get rid of 2 strikers. I just don't think it's realistic to expect two strikers. Or well, Mwani's already gone, right? So I can't see a world in which you get rid of both Solanke and Richarlison. You also do have Tell, who can be cover as striker, but I think we definitely need better for sure. But I don't know. I don't have any in the nose, so it's possible that they could both go. I just think that Solanke is too deep in his contract, and that's not going to happen. Big up to you, Carloso. Hello. Perennial underachievers. Yeah, I mean we've been a bit of a mess, haven't we? Okay, I'm going to come back to the chat. The Savinho signing is not something to hang hats, especially when he's coming off a year down and had injury problems. So there is more speculation around this. So we'll come back to the Savinho conversation, but interesting to hear you guys' thoughts. Lots and lots of comments from you guys over the past few days about Bergvall and Archie Gray. So Bernardo said, and big up to you, Bernardo, if you are in the chat. He said Archie and Lucas have to stay, and a lot of you were saying that they both have to stay for the reason that they count as homegrown players in 27 or 28. Anyway, if we want change, we need to keep them and work on their development, because these guys have all the potential to be amazing players for us. What can't happen is relying on them to be doing the work of the more senior guys regularly. And this is exactly what Andrew was saying in his interview with The Overlap earlier this year, right? He was saying that we need better in those positions. So I would imagine the club are fully aware of this, and Roberto De Zerbi is definitely going to make a push to get more experience in the midfield. We are having a midfield overhaul, and that is very, very clear based on the links that we have seen. About Paulinho, I can see the Portuguese media hyping as possible return to Sporting. Yeah, kind of makes sense as well. I've been in Spain since January, so he hasn't watched any Portuguese news, but he said there's a lot of SCP fans flooding the recent Instagram posts. I'd love it if he stayed. He's a warrior, and De Zerbi rates him very highly, but if we have to move on from him, that's life. On Vuskovic, I really want to see him playing for us again. So in terms of Paulinho, links are still there. I think they're just probably coming to agreements. And if it doesn't work out with Bayern, because don't forget, Bayern are the main party in this. We're not negotiating with Sporting. We're negotiating with Bayern ultimately. So it's going to be up to them whether they want to let the player come to us or go to Sporting. Ivor said, big up to you, Ivor. Big up to you. Been a member of the channel for a few months now. He said, thanks. As a Swede, I hope Bergvall will stay, but I understand changes in midfield is imminent, and I think that's very clear. Senesi is an excellent progressive passer, and we need one as a number 6 as well. And a lot of you are agreeing on this front about the number 6. Too many similar players, as we know. So the thing about what I said the other day about Bergvall and Archie Gray is the point that I made, which seemed to be very controversial. I didn't realize it was going to be so controversial at the time, was that they're both very similar players, similar ages. Neither of them, probably Archie Gray out of the two, is the better progressive passer, maybe. So they are definitely players for the future. The question is, do they provide like a diverse enough midfield with different skill sets that's going to contribute to the well-roundedness of the squad, or are they just two players that for now sit on the bench on 100, just under 100k a week? I don't know, but I was just pointing out yesterday that Liverpool were after Archie Gray if they couldn't get Wharton, and Wharton is a name that has been loved by many Spurs fans, but Wharton has been linked to like 17 clubs, so there is no chance, guys, that Wharton is coming to Spurs, unfortunately. But look, I could be wrong, but just from what I'm seeing, there's no news on it. JC said, with no strikers, obviously our midfielders looked poor. Selling left back and Archie Gray is, Lucas Bergvall, sorry, and Archie Gray is doing the wrong thing all over again. So as you guys can see, there was a lot of sentiment about not letting go of Bergvall or Archie Gray. Spurs are in a long transitional state, and this is the key. It is a long journey. It is going to be a long transitional state. This is not going to turn around in one transfer window. Both players have done enough to be kept for the future. Always buying players according to the manager's style has led us to this mess. So he's pointing out the opposite. JC is saying the opposite of what other people are saying. He's saying, in fact, we buy too many managerial players, and that's why we're kind of lumbered with this mishmash of players. So I think it's a combination. I honestly think it's a combination. And ultimately, the managers haven't got what they wanted, as Ange Postecoglou made it very clear. If their wages are too high, then Spurs will remain a mid-table team. That's exactly what I just said. With a poor squad, expend properly where it counts, or get out. And the get out for ENIC has been very loud, particularly over the last couple of videos. So I take your guys' point on that. We are holding them accountable on all fronts. Systemic Frog, big up to you. I don't know if you're in the chat today, but he said, if this club can't afford Gray and Bergvall, and I didn't say they couldn't afford them, I'm just saying that I think that you got to look at the big picture, because we're now talking about signing Savinho, who would be a starter on the right wing for the same price as a 20-year-old Archie Gray who doesn't really play. So that was the point I'm making. I'm not saying they're too expensive, because in an ideal world, we'll up the wage structure for the entire squad in an ideal world, but I don't know that for sure. All speculation. He's saying it needs new owners and management. And Systemic Frog, I know that you're very ENIC out. I know that. We share that. But he said Van der Ven, Gray, Bergvall, Vuskovic, Kinski should be set in stone, and expect riots if any of them are sold. And yeah, I can see if Archie Gray got sold. From the backlash that I've already seen from the chat, people will definitely go mad about that one. But he said only way Gray goes to Liverpool is if we get Wharton. And guys, I haven't seen, has anyone seen links to Wharton? I haven't seen any links to Wharton to Spurs at all. I've seen links to Chelsea, I've seen links to United, to Liverpool, to City, to everywhere except, but Real Madrid he's been linked to, but he's not been linked to Spurs. So I don't know where people are getting this excitement about Wharton from. I think people just think he's a really good player and he's maybe going to come to us, but I haven't seen anything so far. This club and its disgusting lack of ambition is so damn annoying. We all feel it. We all feel the pain. Sell Sarah and Madison instead. And that's interesting because of the Dave, who was in Australia, said that Madison was speculated to be on the market. Who knows? And Madison can't remember what it's like to not be in a relegation. There's reasons for that. I think that's a bit harsh. He didn't even play last year. Van Hecker is the only one good enough out of the Brighton three. I'm having to start to Google the players we're trying to get with. Yeah, I'm me as well. Our owners are grifters, disgraceful. 25 mil for Paulinho is decent business. Well, if you think about this, if Paulinho is going to go on a 2-year deal, that's 12 and a half per year, which is 3 times the amount we would pay for Senesi or Robertson. So put that in context. Is Paulinho worth 3 times Andy Robertson or a Senesi? I know they're different positions, but that's just reframing maybe like the pricing of these things, because 25 mil doesn't sound like a lot if it's a 5-year deal, but he's 31, so you're not going to put him on a 5-year contract until he's 36. It's probably going to be a 2-year deal with an option to buy, an option to extend or something like that. I don't know, I'm just saying. If they're arguing over that, it's demonstrable. I disagree, but yeah, this lot have no interest at all in taking this club forward. They should have sorted that already and gone. Got Wharton. I said about Wharton. Wharton's not coming. Vlahovic and Morgan Gibbs White. Morgan Gibbs White, guys, is another name that I've seen you guys really, really like. And we all know the deal with Morgan Gibbs White. But again, there has been no speculation of links to Morgan Gibbs White at Spurs. And I have rummaged the archives and I have not seen anything so far. Ridiculous people, lies and grifters, no excuse for them. Charrington, pull your finger out. And guys, out of all of this, I just think we need a sporting director. Forget the transfers, just get me a sporting director. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Is this Lange doing business again? Gives me no faith, but I don't know. Look, Lange got in Paulinho in the first place, so it's so tricky. It's so tricky because then you're taking with one. You know, you've got one hand going in and one that's like he gave us Paulinho, but we hate it. But then he also gave us Archie Gray and Bergvall, and everyone wants them to stay. So everyone's banging the drum that we want Paulinho to stay. But at the same time, they're like, well, Lange should go when he gave us these 3 players. So I don't know. It's fine lines. We need another sporting director, I think. But yeah. Um, this one's quite a long one. Maybe I'll come back to this because we do have loads to get through still. But some names that you guys have been throwing out, these are not realistic, I don't think. Sorry, El Grisso. Thanks for your contributions, El Grisso. But I think Juan Musso is the goalkeeper of Milan. And I think Mike Magan is as well. Both of them in Milan, I think. Had a little look at both of them. I don't think there's any chance. They're locked into deals for the next 6 years, both of them. So I can't see any of them leaving. And someone also mentioned Antonio Nusa as well, potential World Cup superstar. So maybe a name to keep an eye on as well. And I've seen Nusa has been a name as well that has been circulating around. However, there have been no real strong links with Spurs at the moment. But 21-year-old left winger. I haven't seen, I've put him on the list, but I haven't seen any solid links to this just yet. Hayden Hackney going to Everton, but we will circle back to that. Broadbean. Just a question. Hi, Dave. Oh, he's back again, Dave. Hi, Dave. He's back again. Just a question, as I'm interested in a couple of things over here in Australia. What's happening with the new rules about the new VAR and wasting time rules next season? I've not seen anything around this, unless you guys know anything in the chat, but I will keep an eye out. In terms of the Man City charges, there's been no movement. Man City, there has been absolutely no movement on the Man City charges. We are all waiting for them very patiently to be fined. Potentially, we had speculatively 50 points, but 50-point deduction. And that was last week. But I don't know if I can realistically see. I don't know. I think this probably gets announced once Maresca is in post. At the moment, Maresca is not officially announced as the Man City next manager. He's been announced as like a leading candidate and the most strong link. So it's speculated, of course, he's going there. But I wonder if they are waiting to delay the Man City charges until he is in post. I don't know. The reason why I say that is because I also said earlier this season, or earlier in the season to you guys, that it would make more sense if they did the points deduction at the beginning of the season. But realistically, even if Man City get a 50-point deduction, they'd probably stay up. They'd probably stay up. They could get 90 points in a season. They're not Spurs. They could get 40 points and stay up, I reckon. But we'll put a pin in it because I don't think there's any updates on this front just yet. And in terms of the VAR and wasting time rules, I haven't seen anything yet, but we can circle back to it if there are major changes. Another comment on Archie Gray and Bergvall. Don't agree that Archie Gray and Bergvall are sale options. Gray was signed for almost 40 million. Some of that will have been amortized by now after 2 seasons, but can't see how the fee has risen, if at all. Also, 4 years on contract, so he's still got 2 years left. So as you guys can see, a lot of you are saying no. This board better wake up and get it right. So many of you guys are saying this. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. We nearly got relegated. Remember that board. You would have lost 250 to 300 million. Now I see reports Paulinho wants to stay, but Spurs don't want to pay the 26 million fee. Yet they received a windfall of 84 million euros. I presume that is from the Champions League money. Probably. But as we spoke about at the very beginning of this, for those of you jumping in right now, we were saying that the sponsorship deal is dropping by 40%. So it's all swings and roundabouts. Money might be coming into one place, but it's going out of another at the moment. So they're going to have to dig out some cash from somewhere. They will never learn, especially with Lange in charge. And the Lange conversation has gone very, very quiet. It has gone very, very quiet. I think they're distracting us with all these transfer speculations, me personally. But anyway, Rob, big up to you, Rob. Also a member of the channel, said, I'm feeling so positive about this season after this cataclysmic mess. It's starting to worry me in a good way that we may actually challenge on all fronts. Well, I wouldn't get too excited just yet, Rob. We do have a lot of work to do. But it is optimistic for the future, knowing that we have an attacking manager and we're not just going to park the bus next season. And we're also not going to be as open and at the back as we were under Ange. I think De Zerbi is a lot more layered in his tactical style than that. And before we go into the transfer stuff, Mark said, and Mark, I don't know if you're in the chat, but Mark said, silly season is off to a flyer. Why bother? Just wait until we sign someone. And I replied to Mark, big up to you, Mark. I appreciate it. And normally I probably wouldn't go into this level of detail, but because there have been so many links, I am looking into this a little bit more deeply now, just to identify some trends and just get a better sense of like where this club is going, because this is a very, very important season for us, if not the most important season ever, because we cannot be relegated next year. We cannot have the same type of season that we had this year. It is a no-go. No-go. You hear that, Enoch? No go. So I said, where would all the fun and the humour be if we didn't have a bit of speculation around the transfer rumours? So I'm going to put the first one up here, which is the goalkeepers on watch. And what I've done is I've gone through every single position and the names that I have noticed that we have so far been linked to in each position, right? To give us a sense of where these are coming from. Of course, we can only have one goalkeeper. So 6 names on this list. Realistically, they're not all coming to Spurs. The first 4 we've spoken about, or the first 5, should I say. The reason why I highlighted Carl Darlow here from Leeds is because his contract has ended. He is out of contract. And we know Enoch love a freebie. So that is why that Darlow might be one to watch, especially if we're going to keep Kinski, who is a young goalkeeper. The name that has been added onto this list today is Lucas Chevalier. 24 years old, PSG. Contract ends 2030. So he is a new name that has been added to this list. So big up to you all jumping in. Let me just go back over some comments while I leave this up here, and you guys can let me know if you think any of these have any weight at all. What are you guys saying? I'll probably watch it FIFA 2 CD. I'll follow watch-alongs, might watch the final if England are in it. England aren't getting to the final, Agents Up. So England are not getting to the final. No way. No way. This is going to be a France, Spain or France, Portugal final, I reckon. But yeah, we can talk more about that in a later video. But yeah, a lot of you are saying you're not that invested in this World Cup. And I kind of tend to agree. The only reason why I'm watching it is because I just love football. I just love watching football. So I don't care that it's in the US. If Iran play America in like the final round of 32 or 64, whatever it is, that could be quite an interesting watch for various reasons. But yeah, it's going to be a shambles of a World Cup. I think that's a no-brainer. Too many small fish teams in this World Cup. It will drag until the quarterfinals. Yeah, it's going to be a long one because of all these extra teams. How many of these do you realistically think we are going to or could sign? Maybe 3. No, I think considering Senesi, Robertson, and Savinho are almost done, I would say that you can expect a minimum of 6. I would say that we have 3 more at least coming. I think you've got at least 3 more coming. I could be wrong. We're all speculating, but I'm just getting the sense that this is going to be a big overhaul summer. And because we have 5 players also coming up to the end of contract, including Ben Davis, who we're going to talk about, I think that there's going to be a lot of turnaround this summer. But look, we've seen summer transfer windows where we've just signed 3 to 4 players, and I don't think it's enough. Where we're at right now, we need more. We do. It's no secret. 17th 2 seasons in a row. This board better have a shock. They needed the shock. And if that is not enough of a shock to do a rebuild now, well, then they're never going to learn. They'll never learn. If you finish 17th 2 years in a row and they can't get their finger out now, well, then next season, maybe we do go down and maybe then we have to figure it out. You know what I mean? But I don't think we go down under De Zerbi. I do think that even with this squad, the way that we finished the season, 7 points for, no, what was it? 11 points from 7 games. Something like that. Was that right? No, I don't think it was that. Yeah, it was. It was 11 points. We got 3 wins and 2 draws, and we lost 1 game. So if we continue that form, who knows what could happen? Look, 3 years ago, first season under Ange, this squad won 10 games in a row. Okay, we don't have Son anymore, but it just shows you under the right manager, everything can change. But yes, I do think it's going to be more than 3, considering we've already got 3 in the bag. Croatia playing 15 minutes. Yes, I just mentioned that. Kickoff has already started. Luka Vuskovic is a starter for that game. Croatia, Belgium currently 0-0 at the moment. At the moment, it looks like he's the best player on the park at the moment. Surely we've been in the news more during the relegation battle. Charge more for the spot. Yeah, exactly. And the Peppa Pig. Peppa Pig. We put Peppa Pig on the map. What a good PR deal that was for Peppa Pig. Some of you are saying you're not going to watch any of the World Cup. Well, I think you'd rather, I don't know, I'd rather watch Ange Postecoglou on ITV than watch some of these American pundits. I really would. I'd rather watch than watching some of these American pundits because they're even worse. World Cup could be interesting. Given our look, the World Cup, you got to think is the stage where young potential gets scouted. So in terms of, you know, looking at games and whatever, maybe you're not going to watch every game, but there are some key players, up and coming players like Luka Vuskovic, who are on the watch list for a lot of people. So this is why the World Cup is magical, because potential talents pop up all over the place, you know? So that's realistically why yeah, Kudus is not in the Ghana squad. Right, I'm going to come back to some of these comments, guys, because I'm going to move on to the next. So I've done this sort of in order. So the next on the list will be the left back watch. This, I think, is done. This, I think, is done. And the reason why I say that this is more or less, and I told you guys already, this was a 2-year deal with a 1-year extension, £4 million. the reason why I think this is a done deal is because there are absolutely no links out there to another left back. So if there are no other links at the moment to a left back, that suggests to me that this is done. The emerging story is that Ben Davies is in for a new contract at Spurs. This is where it baffles me. This is where it baffles me because if you're talking about Robertson, 32, done deal. And then you've got Ben Davies, 33. His contract ended June the 30th. There are currently no links whatsoever to Ben Davies anywhere, to any other club. He is still injured. So maybe he's going to be very hard to shift because if he's injured, who are you going to sell him to? So, and he's on a free and he's a club legend. So, this whole Ben Davies thing is a very strange situation to be in. You know, he's been here, what, 11 years? So, I saw some very loose links to Forest, but that was a while ago. So, Ben Davies, there is a huge, huge question mark about Ben Davies. And the thing about Ben Davies for me is not about signing him, because I do think he is good to have around the place. He can play centre back as well. Okay, fine, you keep him because he's a club legend. But what I wouldn't want to do is put him on a 2-year contract at 33 years old and take up a space in the squad when we could have someone else who's potentially better come in. So that is my biggest concern with Ben Davies. But news on the grapevine is that there are conversations. I can't remember if it was Paul O'Keefe who said it, but it was definitely a reliable source who said that there are links to Ben Davies coming out. Let me see. I wonder if I can yeah, what do you guys reckon to Ben Davies? What do you guys reckon? Because if you've just signed Robertson, it's very strange. Here. Uh let me see. Here we go. So it was Spurs Army that was reporting it earlier today. Ben Davies will sign a contract extension. It was according to Paul O'Keefe. So yeah, I think Ben Davies. Ben Davies, he's a club legend. Of course, he's a club legend. Look, we're not saying he's Andy Robertson. He's definitely no Andy Robertson in terms of player, but in terms of his loyalty to the club, he's been here 11 years. He's been here since Son was here. He's been here since Kane was here. You know, he's our longest standing Spurs player. He's been a loyal servant to the club. I'm not saying, look, he's a Europa League winner. He's a Europa League winner, but you know, the whole squad has been underperforming. So look, he's not going to be good enough to take us forward, that's for sure. So it's very bizarre why this is even potentially going to be renewed. But what I would say is because there's no other left backs that we're linked to, I would say that the Robertson deal is done and dusted. That's the impression that I'm getting from the online circuit. What are you guys saying? Oh, a lot of you are saying no, 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 no. Oh gosh, okay. Um, mm. How you guys are saying, uh, hey, the fidget wizard. Um, we have the worst football pundits other than Rebecca Lowe and the Men in Blazers. Yeah, you do have the worst pundits. I just saw someone joined the COYS collective. Who was that? Insolent Pup. Big up to you. Welcome to the COYS collective. Welcome to the tribe. Big up to you. I bet Wrexham want Davis. Yeah. Well, look, it could go to like a Wolves or like a relegated team. Oh, look, I don't know. He's been injured. He's been injured. I hate this Ben Davis extensions. People are screaming leader when he is part of the most dysfunctional squad I've ever seen. Well, he hasn't been playing. Let's be fair. Let's be fair. His second to last appearance, he scored. He scored for us this season, Ben Davis, in a time when we had no strikers. So he came on in that one game. When was that? That was about November time, wasn't it? Who did we play? Who did he score? I can't remember. Ben Davis. Who did he score? I don't know. Someone will be able to tell me in the chat. But he scored for us this season, Ben Davis. So look, he's not Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson has won the Champions League. He's won the Champions League. He's won the Prem. He's won FA Cups. The guy's won everything. So Ben Davies is not of that standard. He's not of that ilk. But it seems like maybe they're going to struggle to get rid of him. Or maybe they're just securing him on a contract to get some money for him. That could be a possibility as well, you know? Until the contract is signed, I don't get excited. Verbal means nothing. I think the Robertson one is... Senesi, I can understand. Robertson, indicators are showing that Robertson is coming, I would say. But yeah, you're right. You're right. We can't get too excited. Not a club legend. Big up to you, Quaidolas. His best ability is having no transfer value. So yeah, that's what. Yeah, okay. I just saw your comment, but that's exactly what I just said. Yeah, maybe they're renewing it just so they get some money for it. That could be. But then why would they not get a deal in? I guess they couldn't get a deal in before the summer transfer window because he's injured. I don't know. Been here 100 years and nobody else wanted him. Poor Ben. No, he'd go to a championship side easy. He'd go to a championship side. He is good enough. He's a legend for the players. Yeah, very mixed views. Ben Davies is 33, coming off a major injury. What big club has a Ben Davies on their roster? If they want him around the club, hire him as a coach. Yeah. I don't know. I think they're probably, as someone just said, who was it who just said it in the comments? Someone just said in the comments that it's likely they're trying to get some money for him. So maybe that is the case. But back to the other news stories, guys, because there is a lot to get through. Hey Tom, big up. Welcome. We're just going through the transfers. Big up to anyone jumping in. As always, please do like, subscribe, comment, and share because it helps the channel, and we are so close to 6K. Left back on watch. Right, centre back on watch. And guys, this is what I mean by it looks like Andy Robertson compared to the centre back is a much stronger position that we have secured business in. Because when we look at this centre back, we currently have 7 names that we have been linked to. Guys, half of these are very unlikely. Senesi, of course, we know. We have been informed by both Fabrizio Romano, Ornstein and O'Keefe and various other strong, ITKs that Senesi has been done. So we can only speculate on that front. There's been speculation today around Cuti Romero and Cuti Romero leaving. I think the guy's off in America and he's with Argentina and he don't care. So I think nothing with Romero is going to happen until he shows himself after the World Cup. Hoddle is God. Problem is we can't sell players. We will sell players. And that is a problem. It is a problem. But that's why we sold Johnson in January, isn't it? That's why we're looking to sell Pedro Porro now. Because Pedro Porro has 2 years left, and if you can get 50 mil from him, and we will go through the right back. But for now, centre back. So Senesi is obviously the obvious one. Likely Luka Vuskovic, likely to stay at Spurs. Decision on that one will be made after the World Cup. Most of these names we already mentioned over the last few days. Sergi Dominguez I mentioned yesterday from Zagreb. The other name that has come out today is Andreas Christiansen from Barcelona. 30 years old, experienced centre-back. Again, the reason why I've put this one in blue is because he is out of contract. And as always, we know that ENIC love a signing out of contract. And this Christiansen one is a very interesting one because if you think about it, if you were to, I don't know if he's any good, guys. I don't know if he's any good. So let me know if you know anything about him, Barcelona, centre back. Some of you are saying why. So I would think that Romero goes, Dragusin goes, Senesi comes in, Luka Vuskovic is a maybe, and then if Dragusin is going, I don't know where he fits in here. I don't know. I don't think he really fits in realistically. But you want to be looking at probably someone to take over from Romero because Danso is not good enough. And I think Danso stays for one more season and then he goes next window for me. I think Danso is not long term. Danso is just the next couple of seasons. So when you think about long term, but there's a lot of names on this list, varying ages, a lot of mid 20s, young 20s. So it gives us an indication if this is a real short list of like what type of profile they're kind of looking for. Most of them seem like right-sided, so maybe that would suggest that Romero is indeed out next season. So some of you are saying Christiansen Mayer. I can see him going back to Chelsea. Oh, I don't know if Xavi Alonso would want to enter the Dragushin. Yeah, look, Dragusin's going to go. He's going to go, isn't he? Is Romero is still 0-0. Still 0-0. Croatia, Belgium, by the way, for anyone jumping in. Think after last year, I'm more cautious about incoming players until it's signed. Yes, I agree, because we heard about Gibbs White and Eze last year, but this does feel a bit different. It does feel a bit different. Robertson is not as high profile as Eze, let's be honest. Let's be honest, realistic about it. He's not as high profile. Senesi, he's not really as high profile as a Gibbs White. He's not. So I think there's varying things to it, right? Maybe a Savinho, you could say he is higher profile, hence why maybe the conversations are taking longer. So yeah, cheat ski. Cheat ski. Yeah. Bloody Chelsea. Hate Chelsea. Anyway, some of you are saying Christiansen, why can I have 100k a week? I don't know. Yeah, we should. Happy for him to have a extension, but maybe it's just to sell and get a fee. The general consensus is on the Ben Davis one is that is going to be just an extension. That's pretty much what you guys are saying, and maybe what's happening online as well. So these are the names on here. Some of you are saying John Stones. If we are looking for frees, John Stones. I've seen that name float about. I'm going to write it down. I haven't seen links. There haven't been any rumoured links to John Stones to Spurs at all. Guy's in the USA right now, isn't he? He's going for England. It will be very interesting if he starts for England or if Konsa does. It will be very interesting if Konsa does start, because I think Tuchel does like Stones, so we could get some interest in this one. John Stones 8 days ago linked with Atletico Madrid. He's been linked with Bayern Munich 2 weeks ago. Barcelona. He was linked to Bournemouth. He was linked to Newcastle, Everton, Juventus, Inter. This guy's linked to so many clubs. None of them are Spurs. None of them are Spurs. I don't think John Stones is linked to Spurs. Not that I can see. But hey, you never know. You never know. Someone said he might be going back to Everton. Maybe. Moving on. Right back on watch. Right back position. Very, very interesting, this one. Forget Wan-Bissaka. I don't think that's likely. He's got 5 years on his contract at West Ham. I've put this one here because he was a link, but I don't think it's happening. The interesting thing is that we were linked with Rodrigo Gomez from Wolves earlier this week, or last week, should I say. Progress on this front is the new name of Anan Khalili. This was announced earlier today, Paul O'Keefe. He said Khalili is a name that has been speculated at Spurs. So I wouldn't be surprised if this name starts to progress a little bit more. Very interesting profile, might I add. Contract ends in 28, but he can play right wing back. Currently, at the Belgium side, 21 years old. I don't know if that 9 million transfer market value is very accurate, but he can play right back, right midfielder, and right winger. So he can play both, which is quite an interesting one. And it would also follow with the thinking that maybe Pedro Porro is going to go as well. Chances created 91%, aerial duels 82%, goals 86%. So quite a strong profile. But of course, he's coming from the Belgian Pro League. So in terms of, moving up the ranks, maybe this is not like a massively proven player. Let's just say that. Let me see if I saw. So it was here. So Paul O'Keefe, 4 hours ago, winger options with Savinho a top priority, Harry Wilson and Khalidi, and also considerations in addition. So that is why I'm saying this name of Khalili. because his name has come to the forefront. So maybe, maybe that's one. If anyone's heard of him, if anyone's seen him, don't know. What are you guys saying? Kalili and Kalulu. um, for me, it's simple. If we have Senesi, Romero goes, and Van Hecker, trust probably the former. Yeah, maybe. Uh, my chats have stopped coming through. No, they haven't. Wan-Bissaka is Everton, Fulham level. No, exactly. I don't want to be buying from West Ham. We've already got Kudus. We don't need any more. Um, I agree with you. I hate Chelsea. Yeah, we all hate Chelsea. They came in 20 years ago, committed fraud, bought loads of players, won the league, won loads of trophies, but it's all in vain because it's all fraud. Cheat ski. They bought it all. You know? But big up to you from New Zealand. Are you going to the game in New Zealand? Are you going to the game? Where the pre-season game in New Zealand? Are you going? Jim. Love to hear. Yeah, Real Madrid and Man City. Yeah, well, look, Porro is a good player. He is a good player under the right manager. Under Ange, Porro was amazing first season. Porro was one of our standout players. He didn't suit Frank. He was completely stifled under Frank. Frank put the chains on Porro and was like, stand back. You know. And Porro he's a defensive midfield. He's a defender, but he's also got it in him to be a bit of an attacking right wing back. Porro. So unfortunately, Frank was not the right manager for him. But I think if he stayed, De Zerbi would get the best out of him. The question is, I think from what we've heard, Spurs want to keep Porro. That's what we've heard. But I wouldn't say it's out the question if I wouldn't say it's out the question if big money comes in for him, because we need to raise funds. You know, we need to raise funds. But I would say that this Kalili is a name to be watched. 21 years old. So that would make sense if you've now got Jed Spence as the starter and then a player like a 21-year-old Kalili coming through the ranks, you know, who sits behind Jed Spence. Kind of, I can see that working if Porro goes. But I don't know. Speculation. Oh, you're going to the game. Oh, big up to you. You're going to watch us in New Zealand. Would love to hear some insights when you do go and watch us. We will be lucky to keep Vuskovic. So some people were coming for me in the comments yesterday, P3T3. Someone was coming for me yesterday and they were like, he's a Spurs player. It's up to Spurs. Look, if big money comes in, we can be a selling club. We can be. So are Enoch going to change their ways? Are there any other centre backs out there that would be a good replacement? And based off of what I just showed you guys, this would suggest to me that if they are looking at big money for Vuskovic, they wouldn't mind. That's what this is saying to me. This is saying to me, if big money comes in for Vuskovic, they wouldn't mind selling him. And I'm just reading literally just like what names are on the board here, you know? Defensive midfielders. Now, this is a very much needed position at Spurs because we already know that Basuma is out of contract. So realistically, we don't really have a very good progressive passing defensive midfielder. You kind of have Bentancur, who can also play centre mid. We are very lacking in this department. And I'd say that in terms of, you know, most crucial positions that we need to fill, I would say that this is one of the ones that creatively will make a very big difference to us. Of course, Paulinho is having conversations. Baleba yesterday, a lot of you were saying in the chat, no, thank you. The other name here was Nicolo Pisili. 21 years old from Roma, youngster, but he can play defensive midfield, centre mid, and attacking mid. So a very versatile player. I don't really know if there's too much in this one, but I'm keeping an eye. The reason why I'm keeping an eye on all of these is because it gives us a better sense of like what is the shortlist. You know, what is the shortlist? Definitely doesn't look like the best option. 18 million transfer value, 21 years. I don't, he's Roma. He's coming from Roma. I don't think he's going to be strong enough. But look, he looks like a name that's been shortlisted. Has got a couple of assists and goals this season, but I don't know if he's going to be as good as Paulinho. But what's true to say is we need a progressive passer. So I'm just looking now. 19 shots, 2 goals, XG 1.69. So obviously he's in the Serie A. Could be someone. I'll just show you guys what I'm looking at. Um, so this is Pisilia. This is Pisilia. So just to give you guys sort of a bit, plays in 3 different positions. Italian, contract end 2029. I don't think there's much in this one. I think that, look, you do need a backup. You do need a backup, to be fair. Who did we say we have in that position? I did do the whole map, didn't I? I wonder who I said. I can't remember. I can't remember what I said. I'll have to have a look, but I don't want it to freeze. But yeah, he could be an option. So I think Japalinia sounds like is the one that's probably the most likely. I think Japalinia is still the biggest link, to be fair. I'm just having a look who I said. Who did I say? Yeah, that's it. Basuma Bentancur. So realistically, in the 6, we don't actually have a youngster coming through. We don't actually have a young player coming through for that 6th position. You've got Bergvall and Gray. I don't know if they're more. I don't know if Bergvall and Gray are more centre mids. This is the problem with Gray. We don't really know what his forte is at the moment. We can't pay 100 mil for an average player. Who's 100 mil? The biggest shop window in the world opens on 11th of June. Is it stupid to mention Spurs might try to buy a player from the World Cup? Mind you, the Spurs owners might duck out regards to the team. No, we probably will wait to the World Cup. I reckon we signed Savinho, to be honest. Baleba is dross, been rubbish this season. I think the season before last he wasn't so bad. But you have to remember, he's a De Zerbi coded player. And maybe Baleba didn't perform last season because he wasn't under the right manager. We are buying for De Zerbi right now. And he was a De Zerbi player. So you've got to look at it like, okay, he might have had a crap season, but at the end of the day, if he's wanted by the manager and he's got 2 years left on his contract and they're not going to renegotiate it, maybe there is some weight to it. I don't know, but you got to think like this is under De Zerbi, right? It's you can't. Sometimes we write off players because they're underperforming. Oh, it's sunny now. Where's the rainbow? Where's the rainbow? It's sunny. I can turn the lights off. It's sunny. What the hell is going on? This is like a typical summer's day in England, isn't it? So that is the defensive midfielders on watch. In terms of the centre mids, so a lot of these names, guys, I've mentioned over the last few days, there is no new names popping up on the centre mid option. Alex Scott, Bournemouth, that was one that was really, really favoured by you guys from what I could see in the comments. However, I don't think Alex Scott is a goer. I just think that he's going to go somewhere else, to be honest. I can't see him coming to Spurs. The last that we heard was Bournemouth wanted to renew his contract, Liverpool interest, Man United interest, Arsenal interest, Newcastle, Chelsea, City, Villa. Everyone's in for Alex Scott. And if you're Alex Scott, you're not coming to Spurs unless you really want to play for De Zerbi, and De Zerbi, they want to play for the manager. That's what I would say on Alex Scott. In terms of the centre mid. Plus, in terms of centre mid, you already have Bergvall and Gray. So everyone's saying we want to keep Bergvall and Gray, who can play centre mid. And then we're talking about Alex Scott, who's like a similar sort of youngster. So I don't see any weight to this Alex Scott for Bournemouth. But yeah. Um What, so a player can only manage to play for one manager? No, no, not at all. I'm just saying that sometimes some managers can get the best out of players. You know, in the same way that Pedro Porro wasn't playing well for Frank. You know, it's the same thing. Maybe Baleba doesn't perform well. He's better suited to a system that is like De Zerbi, you know. Not saying that, of course they're professionals. They should be able to play under any manager. But hey, we were talking about Fernandez earlier in the stream. Look at Fernandez under Amorim. And now look at him under Carrick. Top assists ever in the Prem. So sometimes I just mean that sometimes you need the right manager to bring out the best in a player, is what I'm saying. Of course, they can play under more than one manager, but it's like a boss at work, you know? If you like your boss, you're going to do better. You're going to perform better. If they get the best out of you, then you're going to want to perform better. So all I'm saying is Baleba played under De Zerbi. We know that De Zerbi wants Verbruggen. He wants these players, even though what we've heard is really Verbruggen is the strongest link out of the three. So I do think that Baleba is just one that's out there. I just think it's one that's out there. But yeah. Anyway, moving on. Centre mid, there hasn't really been any progresses on this front. So what I'm gauging from this is right wing, centre back, goalkeeper, and defensive mid are top priorities, not centre mid, from what I'm seeing. And the same with attacking midfielder. We've only been linked to a couple of attacking midfielders, and this I'm quite happy about because we do have Maddison, we do have Kudus who can play in the 10, we do have Kulusevski who can play in the 10, even though they're both out injured. We do have Xavi that can play there, even though he's out injured. And we also have Gallagher. So potentially, if everyone is fit, ready and available, you have 5 players that can play in the number 10. So talk about from going 0 to 100, right? Okay, Kudus might not be the best in a 10, but he could go do a job there if you really needed to rotate Maddison. So Gallagher and Maddison, starters for next season. Xavi, when he comes back fit. Kulusevski could be starting next season. We actually don't know where Kulusevski is going to play. Is Kulusevski going to play in the right wing? Is he going to play in the 10? We don't know what Kulusevski's ideal position is under Roberto De Zerbi's system. So I think we're going to learn more about Kulusevski. Hopefully he can do the pre-season tour and get some minutes under his belt. That would be very, very good for Kulusevski. But I would say, based on what we've seen, attacking midfield is not a position that we are hiring for, which I'm okay with because I think we have more priorities in the squad. Left wing, as you can see, this makes total sense that we would be after a lot of these players. So many of you have been coming for me about Rashford, by the way. Guys, I don't make the stories. You guys are hilarious. I love you guys. You're hilarious. But yeah, Rashford is not coming to Spurs. Confirmed. Confirmed. Rashford is not coming to Spurs. He is not coming to Spurs. I repeat, Rashford is not coming to Spurs. This was squashed today by Matthew Abbott on Football London. He has no interest. This is to do with Man United. Barcelona have first refusal on the player. He don't want to come. He do not want to come. Big up to you, 3-star Reds, for being a member of the channel. Is it still for 1 month? Big up to you. Big up to you. Appreciate you. But yeah, Marcus Rashford is not coming. He ain't coming, guys. He's not coming. Left wing. So back to the left wing. I don't think Somerville, realistically. I don't think DM. I don't think any of these players. I did add Scienza to this list. Southampton 27-year-old, 25 million. That's quite an interesting one. I don't really think he's got what it takes, but there are certainly a lot of links on this left wing. The Noosa one, as I said when I was going through your fan reactions earlier in the video, Noosa was a name that came up from, who was it who said the Noosa link? Who was it? Someone said the Noosa link earlier in the video. Who was it? Richard. Richard said Noosa. But a lot of you are saying Noosa, to be honest. So he is a name that seems very popular amongst the Spurs fan base. However, he has been linked with everyone. He has been linked with everyone. I think 21 years old. Tell is also 20. How I think about this, and I don't know, maybe I'm alone in this. Maybe I'm alone in this. I just think it's not so much about the quality of player. I look at like the age in terms of like progression, because you in each position you want leadership. You want one youth up and coming player, and maybe you want one player, youngster coming into their prime. So if Tell is a youngster coming, he's 21, he's coming into the game, you don't want to block off his pathway to success and buy another 21-year-old player. Ideally, you want like a Shienza who's 27, a Rashford who's 28, someone who can lead that line, ideally. I don't know, that's maybe, I don't know, guys, let me know what you think. Some of you are saying Akilush, there's been no links. I know Akilush is a very popular name, but there's been no links to Akilush at all. Not that I've seen anyway, but I know that he's a name. But Bowen's been a name that's been suggested by you guys. Locatelli, Scott, Gonzalez, but Mamouche, these are all names that are like, I don't know, wishful thinking. I think. We got to remember where we are. Mamouche, the centre forward, he's 60 million linked with Villa and Barcelona. He's not going to come to Spurs if he's going to go to Villa or Barcelona and play Champions League football. It's just not going to happen. Same as Akilush. Like they're just not going to come to Spurs. You know what I mean? Like we're just getting a bit big for our boots. Maybe, I don't know. Remember where we are. Yeah, maybe he does play off the right. He does. But I'm just saying in general, like what I'm saying is these big names, I just can't see. I can't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Johan Lang is going to pull it out the bag. uh, I'm just having a look, guys. I'm just having a look on Akalush. I don't think there's any links. 22, Monaco, right winger, 24 years, been linked to PSG, Liverpool. He was linked to Spurs a couple of weeks ago, but he was also linked to Man United, Man City, Juventus, Real Madrid, Newcastle, Chelsea, Aston Villa, Arsenal. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we do have legs. I don't know. Liverpool are challenging Man United, Tottenham and Newcastle for the signing for Monaco's right winger, according to Football Insider. Liverpool are leading position to sign Akilush, Spurs close behind. £40 million. I don't think we get him. I think it would be pulling the wool over everyone's eyes if all of a sudden Johan Lang brings in Akilush. Anyway, right wing. Savinho, we know, is a very, very strong target, almost signed, sealed, and delivered. Big up to you all jumping in. Welcome aboard. Please do like, subscribe, comment, and share if you are new around here. Right wing. So Savinho is pretty much a done deal. That is the news coming out today, and this one sounds like it's pretty much. This one sounds like it's pretty much done, to be honest with you guys. It sounds like personal terms are agreed for the player. Let me see if I can get it up. Savinho has agreed personal terms with Tottenham. The Brazilian winger has agreed a 5-year deal running until 2031. It's understood that he is keen to move. There was also news that I can't remember who it was. Someone was reporting that he's got the green light from De Zerbi. Here we go. According to Paul O'Keefe, signing Savinho has been approved by Roberto De Zerbi. So he's a player that the manager wants. He's a player that we can afford. He would be a good club signing as well. So right winger, we need cover there. It is no secret. And this is coming out. Krish is not really a reliable source, but it came from Paul O'Keefe, right? So £50 million package, 4-year deal is what we are hearing for Savinho. So I repeat, 50 million 4-year deal is what is being speculated at the moment, and it sounds like this is pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered, guys, from what we're seeing. So Savinho is done. That's the first thing. Mason Greenwood going to Fenerbahce, completely not likely, not going to happen. His name was obviously linked several times because of Roberto De Zerbi, but it ain't happening. The name today that has been circulating is Harry Wilson from Fulham. Contract ends 2026. I showed you guys just then the tweet from Paul O'Keefe that came out. The speculation on Wilson is that he would not be the starter speculation is Savinho would be the starter and a Harry Wilson would be second to that. Clearly, they are forward planning for the eventuality that Odebear is not going to be fit until January. And if I'm Spurs, I buy 2 players for this position. I get rid of Odebear and I get rid of Kudus. But I can't see them doing both of these signings. For now, for this season, I think Savinho and I think you have Kudus as a backup, but we don't know when Kudus is going to be back yet. He could be back the start of next season. He might not be. So I don't know. Is this about who's this? Savinho, PE3. Is this Savinho's friends with Xavi? No, Greenwood's not coming. Forget Greenwood. I haven't updated it, but because literally this is a revolving door, guys. So Savinho, Greenwood was just announced. Like I'd already started the live when Greenwood was announced to go to Fenerbahce, but that is done. That is done. From what I'm hearing, anyway. Marmoush is on 300k. Yeah, I think these are just yeah. So look, I have seen some people saying that he's not good enough. And I don't think he's going to be a starter. So Paul O'Keefe said this is in addition to Savinho. So it's going to be a Savinho plus another player. So we're looking for a backup right winger now. Of course, Savinho can play left wing as well. He said, Paul O'Keefe said, there will be other names that I don't have links to. So there are other names circulating. It is very clear that Spurs are looking not just for a starter right winger, they are also looking for a backup, which suggests to me that once Odebear is fit, he could be out the door come January transfer window and go out on loan. Remember, Odebear is like 20 years old. The guy played half the season. He was okay for us. But Odebear and Tell, we've got so many youngsters. We need more experience, and maybe Wilson at 29. I don't know. Maybe he could provide cover. I don't think it's amazing, but could be okay for a season or two. 29 years old. You put the guy on a 2-year contract with a year option extension. You get it on the cheap, and then you've got Savinho as a starter, and then you've got full squad rotation for the start of the season. I don't know. I'm just, look, this is all speculation. More names are going to come out, right? We are very much in limbo. Hello, banking. We are in limbo. How's things going over on the red side? Have you guys made your signings yet? This is the thing. You need to move fast. You need to move fast. We need to move fast this transfer window. So for people out there saying they don't like Savinho, you got to move fast because we need players. We need players, and it might not be perfect, but as I always say on this channel, progress over perfection. You're never going to get the perfect squad in the first transfer window. It's going to be built over a few seasons. Priority for now is getting the squad rotation. So moving on, the last position that we're going to talk about is the striker, and that is obviously the most important position, second to the goalkeeper. Is that PG Tips you're drinking? I actually don't know. I think it might be Tetley. Whatever was in the cupboard, I think it might be Tetley. It's a bit cold now, so I had to drink it quick. But yeah, it's not an iced tea kind of day today. It was a thunderstorm for 20 minutes, had to turn the lights on, and now it's sunny outside. So I don't know what's going on with today. Big up to you all jumping in. So next names. Oh, this was the right wing watch we just covered. Right, strikers. Strikers. Now, interestingly, this list is not as long as the goalkeeper. That goalkeeper list was so long. Like, there were 7 players on the goalkeeper shortlist. And look, guys, this is just the names that I'm seeing, right? You guys are saying names that I'm adding into the mixer sometimes. If I then research it, and there are links out there. So there are so many names circulating. In addition to that, we know that Johan Lang works in the dark. Oh, we hate this guy. We hate this guy. But then we need this guy because we need players. So I don't know. Johan Lang works in the dark. All of a sudden, we're going to hear a name that none of us is connected to. And we're going to be like, oh, that was a very left one. And it's going to be a really good one. So I don't know. Anyway, Mason Melia, of course, we heard a couple of days ago, Alistair Gold was saying that Mason Melia is going to be a doubt until after the World Cup. Of course, he is playing for Ireland. And on that note, he did play for Ireland a couple of days ago. And just to say, guys, Croatia are losing 1-0 to Belgium, and it is currently half time. Luka Vuskovic, they're playing three at the back. Luka Vuskovic is centre back, although he doesn't look like he's having the best game, to be honest. Tielemans scored. Doku having a good game by the looks of it. De Kuiper having a good game by the looks of it, got an assist. So, yeah, Croatia not doing so well. However, on the Mason Melia front, is Dragusin starting for Romania today? Dragusin's in the Romania squad. They have just kicked off. Obviously, they're not in the World Cup, but these are friendlies. They are playing Georgia as of right now. He is in the squad, so I'm just going to keep an eye on that one. However, a couple of days ago, the reason why I wanted to bring this up, Mason Melia, which is the name here, did get 1 minute for Ireland internationals. They played Qatar the other night and won 1-0. So he was brought on to see the game out, although 1 minute he didn't really have any impact. So he is, at 18 years old, he is a starter for the Irish team. I know the Irish team aren't probably the best team in the world, but he's in the senior men's game, right? So Mason Melia is going to be a question mark. And I think if you're going to bring Lancashire back, can you afford to bring back Mason Melia? I think you haven't got enough minutes. But yeah, anyway, obviously the Jimenez name has been circulating a lot, and the Liao link is gone. Forget Liao. Unlikely. Paul O'Keefe has confirmed that that is not going to happen. So Liao is a no-go. It is a no-go confirmed by Paul O'Keefe. So I don't know. If you believe in Paul O'Keefe and you believe in what he's saying, then that's a no-go. In terms of Ornstein and the other reporters out there, I don't know what they've been saying, but Paul O'Keefe does tend to reply to people commenting. So that is why it was confirmed, because someone specifically said, is Liao coming? And he said no. The Hayden Hackney one was Everton. That's pretty much, it's not confirmed, but they're leading the race. So yeah, no other news on that front. So I'm just checking if there was anything else that had come out. Not that I can. No other news at the moment. Oh, okay. So this was updated an hour ago. An hour ago, what was summarized was 5-year deal worth 6.5 million annually. City seek 50 million, while Tottenham's bid is around 35 million, and Savinho wants more playing time. The club is also eyeing, well, we've just spoken about Harry Wilson, and we also spoke about Anand Khalili. So all of those names I've put on the list. As fans dream of Girona flair, but question his recent City form. So it sounds like maybe that Khalili guy could be an alternative to a Harry Wilson. Interesting. I don't know. All speculation. All speculation, but it does sound like Savinho is the top one. Anyone? Sterling? Isn't he going to be arrested, Sterling? Isn't he gone? Isn't he gone? Isn't he going to be arrested? Sterling? Oh dear, did anyone see the video of the car swerving? It was a video of what happened just before he crashed. The whole drug scandal thing. But yeah, crashed his car. So yeah, there was some reports of the car swerving and stuff. I saw a video online. I think it was on the Daily Mail. Forest interested in Hayden Hackney and Mateta from Palace. Interesting. We've just heard Hayden Hackney to Everton. So you might be in a competition battle there with Everton, maybe. I don't think he comes to Spurs. I don't think we really need him. We've got Bergvall and Gray, so we're just talking about. I think this is one of those ones where it's a bit to push up his price, to be honest, because Middlesbrough need to get rid and they want to get their money's worth. No, we're not going. No, it's not about pulling Liao. It's a no go. It's a no go. And it was a name that was linked. So, you know, I don't know. Look, people would have said it would be ridiculous if we signed off of our other players. So, you know, um, yeah, I saw it coming down, circulating earlier. Gabriel's penalty. I did see it circulating. It was coming down, and I don't know. It almost hit me, so I had to make a runner. To be honest, Lancashire, give him a go. Yeah, Lancashire is a name that it sounds like De Zerbi's going to give him a good run for the pre-season, and all being well in the pre-season, it looks like Lancashire is going to stay for next season. So that's the update on that one. See, in the forum on the Spurs Hub, we couldn't come up with a good option at striker. No one. Oh, you mean as in like you were speculating names? I don't know. Look, the strikers are very hard to come by right now. They are. Look at the goalkeepers we just went through compared to the striker list. You know, the goalkeepers we had loads, but realistically the strikers it's quite quiet on that front at the moment. But I would say keep an eye out at the World Cup. That's what I would say. But yeah, look at the goalkeepers, all these names, and then the strikers, there was barely any. So I think that, you know, yeah, as I was saying, we need the correct profiles. I don't know. Look, Ivan Toney is going to be back up for England striker. If Ivan Toney has an amazing World Cup and he wants to get out of Saudi, is he a player that would play under De Zerbi? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I think Lancashire is worth a punt, I think, but as a third striker. And you can't, if there's no one on the market, then you can't get rid of Richarlison and Solanke. You guys are, not all of you guys, some people in the chat are saying, get rid of Solanke, get rid of Richarlison. And then in the same breath, we're like, there's no players, there's no good strikers. So then you can't get rid of Richarlison if you need a Solanke, right? So it swings and roundabouts. It's a progression. It's a progression, guys. Rashford is not coming. You're late. You're late, Trevor. You're late. You're late. No, Rashford ain't coming. It's a no-go on the Rashford front. But you can scroll back because we had a big conversation about it. Rashford ain't coming. He's not coming. Not coming. What else are you guys saying? Get players before the World Cup. Not going to happen because they're at the World Cup. Their focus is elsewhere. Their focus is elsewhere. You know, it's going to be down to the agents having the conversations. But I assume that these players are going to be locked in at the World Cup. So we're edging closer. We're edging closer to the World Cup. Like, think about all these players that are on these lists. How many of them are World Cup players? Not many. There are a couple, but that's because their contracts have expired, not necessarily because they're available. Do you know what I mean? Um, my neighbours are banging on the ceiling again. They're banging on the ceiling. Oh goodness! First of all, the rain, and now my neighbours. Tony would take a monumental pay cut. Yeah, yeah, and his taxes as well, isn't it? Tony gets 500k with no tax coming to us. He'd be on 200k with 50% tax. Yeah, exactly. Look, do they need the money? Do they need the money? Do they want the money? I don't know. Yeah, no, I don't know if he does want the Prem. I don't know. I was just speculating. I was just speculating this because someone said in the chat there's no good strikers around, right? Strikers are very rare at the moment. They are very hard to come by. So attracting the right one, you know. Um Middlesex Spurs, but seriously, I would consider having Lancashire around as a, yeah, no, Lancashire will be around next year. Lancashire will be around. I just hope he doesn't turn into another Dane Scarlett, you know. He needs minutes. He needs minutes. I think you start him in the cup games. But do we start around earlier in the cups this year? Does anyone know that? I think we start around earlier, no, because we're not in Europe. Because I remember a couple of seasons ago under Ange, that first season when we weren't in Europe, we started a round earlier and we played Fulham, and then we went out very, very early in the cups. So I think I don't. We must do. And United last year got knocked out by Grimsby, right? So we probably we don't have Europe, but we do start earlier in the cups. So there's only like one game extra, but I don't know if anyone knows the answer to that, but I'm pretty sure we go in the round earlier. I think. Um, yeah, I mean, look, there was loads of stuff about Arsenal that I could have spoken about. There was a whole article that I was going to dive into about like the landscape of like the fan bases and stuff, and like the comparisons between Spurs and Arsenal. But to be honest with you guys, I had my banter. I know my banter was a bit soft or whatever, but like it's all a bit of fun, isn't it? Like I don't want it to. I don't want to talk about the Gooners. I don't care about them. I don't care about them. It's just funny. Just funny. They're so sensitive. They're so sensitive, guys. So, look, we know how it felt to lose the Champions League final against Liverpool. We know how gutting that was. We've done it. We've been there. Crazy. And as Spurs fans, we have more character because they're taking the piss out of us for surviving relegation. But here we all are discussing Spurs because we love our club so much. So, I don't really give two craps about them lot, to be honest. They had so many fans at the parade that were just out and about in London. All these people that have no idea about the squad, don't really care. Like their fan bases. I'm telling you, if Arsenal were going to get relegated, half of their fan base would disappear. With Spurs, we all came out the woodwork. You know what I mean? So whatever, plastic fans, whatever. I don't really care. They won the league. Good for them. Good for them. This might be an Arsenal era now. Who knows? Who knows? Lots to play for. Next season is going to be a shake up. I was even thinking last night. I was thinking like, what could next season look like? But it's too early to do a prem prediction because we don't know players and we don't know all the managers yet. We'll be okay. James, big up. Thank you very much for fact checking that. We'll be in round 2 of the Carabao. Yeah, so we start earlier, right? We start a bit earlier. So there will be more games for a striker to come in. So maybe Lancashire gets that opportunity. I don't know. But hey, he scored 12 goals last year. He did very well. So even if Oxford did go down, the storm has arrived. Yeah, it was an hour ago down here. You're tracking it up the country. Oh, it was hailing here. It was bloody dark for a while. Um, Forest are Sarah. Now we're back. Now we are back to just Premier League games. What do you mean 3-star Reds? Is that is that talking about Forest also starting around earlier? Yeah, okay, you got yeah. I thought that was the case. I thought that was the case. I couldn't remember for sure though, but I was just pretty sure. I'll leave this one up. Um, if you want to compete, we need to get Victor Osimhen goal machine. I've seen that name about before. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. What are you laughing at? Hello banking. What are you laughing at? Osimhen is not coming to Spurs. Um, what are you laughing at? Hello banking. I'm so sorry for your loss. Lancashire has that knack of being in the right place, much as Kane did at that young age. Question is, can he become quality as lethal? Look, Son in his first year wasn't great. Kane in his first year wasn't great. Xavi last year wasn't great. Sometimes players just need to adapt to the tempo of the Premier League, and if they're given a chance, they can really shine. Problem is, our fan base is so jaded. It's so jaded. We don't give players a chance, and we write them off, and it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle that we're in. We're in a negative. In coaching, I'd call it the drama triangle. In coaching, I'd call it the drama triangle. That is what we're in. The persecutor, what is it? It's the persecutor, the savior, and the rescuer. I think that's right. So yeah, there's a bit of a drama triangle that goes on between the ownership, the fan base, and you know, other various parties. But yeah, we need patience if we are going to see a full reset. And I should have had a look at some of the other comments which were also in agreement of that. And it's not an echo chamber, this channel, because there's many of you that have different wide spectrum of opinions. Some of you are saying no, we need change right now, and some of you recognize that transition takes time. It's going to take a few transfer windows. It is. Even if people hated what Vinay said, that's the reality. It is going to take time. Nothing good comes overnight. You got to put in the work. Um, oh yeah, I saw the tree. Big up to you all jumping in. As always, please do like, subscribe, comment, and share. I feel like I keep saying it. How many likes do we have on the live stream right now? How many likes do we have? What are we up to? 95. Go on, guys. 5 more likes and we're at 100. There you go. Couple more. Three more likes. Press the button. Right. It's free. No, I don't want to sound beggy, but it is appreciated. Did you see the guy who thought they were yes. We all saw that. We all saw this. We all saw the guy that thought they were champions of Europe. Yeah, we all saw that. Hilarious. There we go, 106. Big up to you all. Thanks so much for liking it. Yeah, we did all see that was bloody hilarious. When people say they don't care, it's the opposite. Um, maybe. I mean, I don't really care. That's the thing. I don't really care. Um, Hence why I'm not like, well, obviously we're talking about it, but in the same way, I started this stream talking about Bruno Fernandes at Man United. So it's not like I'm a Spurs fan that's just like glued to Spurs. You've got to look at other teams. We've spoken about Chelsea on this channel before. We've spoken about other teams on this channel before. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like we're not. I don't know. I don't really care. Look, if you want the Arsenal banter, go to Expressions, go to DR Media or whatever. That's their game. That's what they do. Did anyone see Simon Jordan yesterday on Talk Sport? He was actually slating him. He was slating the Arsenal fan channels. He was really laying in Simon Jordan yesterday. He was like, they're responsible for all the hate that Arsenal get. I don't think that's the case. I just think that there's been a cultural shift, and there's just, with the influx of people coming into the country, you've got a lot of people who are moving into that neck of the woods and want to support that team, but I don't know. There seems to be a lot of backlash from Simon Jordan on that. So I don't know. But then again, everyone can talk crap sometimes. Do you know what I mean? So whatever. But yeah, Um, Oshiman has very bad character. We don't need bad seeds. We're not getting him anyway. Wouldn't worry about it. Forest, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Inter, and AC Milan, Bayern Munich, Benfica, and PSG, only teams to win back-to-back Champions League titles. Could be said Forest are bigger than Arsenal. You are quite a big team. You are quite a big team, but it's taken you a while to get back in the Prem. Can you stay in the Prem? I mean, you managed to do it this season with European football as well, but I think the best thing that you guys did, Forest, was sack Nuno. You sacked Nuno at the right time, and then he took West Ham down. That was the best thing that you guys did this season. Yeah, I know. It's kind of ironic. It's ironic. Here we are on a Spurs channel. I don't want to talk about Arsenal, but the Gooners are in the chat. They're in the chat. So I'm like, well, I don't know. You're giving it. Yeah, but you're here. You are here. You are in our room. And I say our room because this is our community. So, you're in the Spurs tribe. I didn't come into the Arsenal chat, did I? I didn't come into the Arsenal chat. You came into our chat. So, we're having Spurs conversations. Want Savino, Adam Scott, Baleba, or Wharton, and a good a striker, good window, as long as we have Robertson and Senesi, and bring Vuskovic back. Big up, Darren. Um, we have covered a lot of these names. You've probably just jumped in. Um, if you have just jumped in, Adam Scott's probably not going to come. Baliba's probably not going to come. And Wharton's probably not going to come. But there will be other names. There will be other names. Um, Spurs suck as a City fan. What do you reckon to Savino, Brooklyn? Brookie Linettes. Brookie Linettes. What do you think about Savino? What's your opinions on Savino? Do you like him? I mean, I'm guessing you're probably happy to let him go. You've got better squad than that, but always interesting to hear from an insider what you guys think to your players, because it's all you can see their character more, because I don't watch them in week out, but he hasn't had many minutes this season. So um, remember, City lives rent free in Spurs heads. Man City runs North London and Manchester. I mean, this is probably the funniest comment of the day, Brooklyn, because of all the big teams, you're the only ones we beat. Out of all the big teams, Man City is the team that Spurs beat regularly, season in, season out, even when we are crap in the past 2 seasons. So you should be appalled by that. You should be absolutely appalled that you give us 4 to 6 points a season, you know? So you are not a team that lives rent free in our heads. I can guarantee you that. When we think about Man City, we think about Sonny messing up. That's what we think about. We think about having our 6 points and going to the Etihad every year and winning. So, and then we think about losing every other game in the season. Come on, guys. Come on. We bloody won 7 games this season, and one of them was against you lot. So, what does that? It says more about you than it does us, doesn't it? But it's quite ironic, isn't it? Um, It's all right. We're having banter. Don't worry. I get it worse stick from my mates, I can tell you. I can tell you. Although they did all seem a bit down the other day. I did feel a bit bad. There was a part of me that felt bad for about 5 seconds when they put in the group. They were like, how's everyone feeling after the parade? And someone was like, not great. And I was like, oh, that's really sad, but haha. Um, yeah, I agree about Oh, yeah, you agree about Nuno, yeah. And our other has been linked with the Palace job. Uh, Wait, who's the other? The other is in Postacoglu. You mean Postacoglu? No, you can't mean Postacoglu. Postacoglu to Palace would be outrageous. That would be outrageous. Where's Thomas Frank going? Thomas Frank and Postacoglu, they're out of business. They're out of jobs. Fulham don't want them. Palace don't want them. They're going to the World Cup. They're going to the World Cup. It's quite funny when you think about it. But oh, do you mean Dyche has been linked to Palace? I don't know. I don't know who's been linked to Palace, to be honest. Big up, Richard. See you next time. Big up. Um, Sorry, I meant Alex Scott. Sorry, I meant so many names, too many names. Good evening, Mark. Good evening. Um, yeah, we can stop. Stop talking about the Gooners now. I don't care about them. I don't care about them. They can come back next year when we finish 17th, because it ain't happening. We are not finishing 17th again. It is never going to happen. Um, Famous last words. He probably doesn't actually follow the club. No, I think look, I think Hello Banking is a. I think Hello Banking is a Arsenal fan. It's fine. I don't really like whatever. We all support our team. Do you know what I mean? Nice to have a bit of rivalry. It wouldn't be any fun. Look, it wouldn't be any fun if you didn't have any rivals at the end of the day, would it? We'd all be happy here, smiling about the fact that we can get every player under the sun, and we're finishing first. It's never going to happen. Well, no, we might do, but just not in the near future. Maybe in the distant future, once Enoch have buggered off and Johan Langer's buggered off. And that is true. That is true. United are bigger cheats than Chelsea. They are. They are. It's quite sad, really, isn't it? Igor Tiago? I haven't seen any links. No links. Um, Still salty. Savinho is going to crappy Spurs. Salty about what? What have we got to be salty about? The only thing that Spurs fans are salty about Man City is you guys bottled the league, okay? Okay, Brooklyn? That's the only reason why we're salty at you, City fans. You should have won the league, but no, you threw it away. You threw it away, and it is your fault that Arsenal won. So we are holding you culpable because you were the only ones in the running. So that is what, if for anything, we're not salty at City. We are salty about the fact that you didn't compete. You should have done better. Pep's last season, you should have done better. So we do buy a lot of your rejects. That is true. Um, You're getting croupy. Yeah, look, we do buy from you guys. We do. And the reason why we buy from Man City is because we don't buy from our rivals. We didn't, Gallagher, we couldn't get from Chelsea. Gallagher had to go internationally for us to then buy him because Chelsea don't do business with us. We don't buy from Arsenal. After the whole Sol Campbell saga, there is no links with London clubs. So of course we're going to buy and Robertson from Liverpool. Of course we are. Of course the conversation around Rashford and United is going to be there because we are going to buy from Cities and Liverpools, and do you know what I mean? Like just think about it logically, Brooklyn. Just think about that logically for a second. I think we'd even buy players from Liverpool over buying from West Ham. You know what I mean? Even if we did buy Kudus. So, and look, everyone can laugh at us, but 3 years ago we were fifth, and 5 years ago we finished above Arsenal. So we need a rebuild, we need a rebuild, and this is it. Exactly, JMO, exactly. You bought Walker, exactly. Who would be your dream signing? I actually don't know. I don't really have one. My dream signing is whoever Roberto De Zerbi wants. Whoever he wants, he can have. I'll give him my checkbook. It might not get him very far. It might not get very far. You might get the plane out, but you might not get the plane back. But yeah, for me, whoever De Zerbi wants, he can have. I don't know who my dream signing is because I don't know what tricks De Zerbi has up his sleeve. To be completely honest, that's my honest answer. I actually don't know. As with most transfers, because I think you can speculate and then players come in and they're like underperform or they're not quite the right fit, or it's all down to the manager. If the manager can get the best out of the player, then you're laughing, you know. Um, Alex Scott, because he's linked to every player. He's linked to every club, Alex Scott. He's linked with every man and his dog. Literally, he's linked with every man and his dog. So that's why. It's not that he doesn't want to. It's just that if you're gonna if you're gonna go for a United or an Arsenal or a City that have Champions League or an Aston Villa, why are you gonna come to Spurs? That's why we can't offer the minutes. You need squad rotation. So it's look, we're in a tricky situation. If De Zerbi gets us seventh up next season and we get some kind of either Europa or Champions League, we will be in a stronger position to sign better players. But the remit is you need to do better next season. So the board are going to want to see that progress from De Zerbi as well. Yeah, we've had really good 7 games, but look, you've also got to think like Ange, great first 10 games. Then look what happened. Frank, great okay first 10 games. Then look what happened. So there is an air of caution. You've got to throw a bit of caution to the wind. You can't just I don't know, you got to back him wholeheartedly, but you do have to have an air of caution about it. Like, what if everything goes wrong come November? A fan's calling for De Zerbi out. You know what I mean? We are very temperamental as a fan base, very very temperamental. And I was thinking, what happens if it works out? What happens if De Zerbi does get us, top five or something like that? People would be like, well, he didn't really deserve it. Look at these players, we need better. And then if he didn't do it, then people would be like, well, he didn't get what he wanted. So it's so fragile. It is. It's so fragile. Um. Bye. See you. Pick up to you. Take care. Um, no, no, we're not upping the Reds, but we appreciate you being an honorary Forest fan as a member of the COYS collective. Oh, dear. Whatever, you said this about Haaland. You said this about Haaland. Guys, whatever, whatever, whatever. We have De Zerbi. Football banter is so childish. So childish. I love it. Brilliant. Yeah. Well, Brooklyn. Well, Brooklyn. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see. We are a long way off. We know where we are. We know where we finished. 17th twice in a row. 1 point from relegation. We need better. And our whole fan base is aware of this. But it's not up to us. We are shackled to our club at the end of the day. We're shackled to ridiculous ownership. So, you know, and if the owners don't make a move by the end of the summer transfer window, there will be hell to pay because our fans are just going to protest again and we're going to end up in the loop like we have been the past couple of seasons. And it's such a toxic place to be. This is why we're going to end up 17th. So we got to, very fragile at Spurs. It's very, very fragile. They've got to put their money where their mouth is and buy the players we need. Um, and that's why we don't really care about Arsenal. We don't really care about City. We're so far off it, in all honesty. Like, we've got so much work to do. We've got to stay in our lane, you know? Um, yeah, but last Spurs nil UCL last chance was in. Well, we were in the UCL. We were in the Champions League this year. We were in the Champions League this year. We finished fourth in the table in the Champions League. The only reason why we got knocked out is because we bought in Igor Tudor. If we didn't bring in Igor Tudor, then we probably wouldn't have been knocked out, you know? Who knows? If Vicario didn't have a hernia, then maybe he would have started and Kinski wouldn't have fucked up on 5 goals. Do you know what I mean? So, like, in another world, if De Zerbi was in, we don't get knocked out of Atletico Madrid, you know? So, we were literally in the Champions League this year. We won the Europa League last year. So, whatever. Whatever. You guys celebrate your FA Cup and Carabao Cup. I don't know why you're taking the piss out of us so much anyway. I mean, I like Pep. Um, yeah, we're now free, Trevor, until the World Cup, and we have to listen to Frank on the BBC and Postacoglu on ITV. Oh dear. Scott loves Spurs and we need class. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Anyway, guys, we have been going for 2 hours. But yeah, lots of news. Let's see what happens. I am quite interested what happens with this whole sponsorship deal situation. So I am going to keep an eye on it, as with like all the World Cup stuff and all of that jazz. Um, so yeah. If anyone is interested in looking up the if anyone was interested in looking up the it's gone from my head Fernandez interview. That was a very interesting one. It was genuinely a very interesting one. And I don't really care for United players or Fernandez, to be honest, but it was quite interesting. I remember when United fans wanted Fergie out after a bad start. Robins won a cup, great Garrett Forrest, and the rest is history. Even if Spurs are bottom half, De Zerbi must be. I agree. I completely. What a good comment to end on, because I completely, wholeheartedly agree with this. If De Zerbi Here's a question. If De Zerbi finishes 16th next season, do you keep him? I don't know. I think you just do. I think you just do, you know. Swear more. If I swear, YouTube bans you. Well, they don't ban you, but they you have to go through all these checks and stuff. Like when you upload videos, that's why sometimes it takes like 2 hours to process. So I'm very mindful about swearing. Matchday vlogs are different because it's filled with emotion and it's other people around me, but I try not to. Um, did you just say imposter coglu? No, but I could have done. But yeah, I agree with this. I agree with this. Look, you got to give De Zerbi time. Lange, not so much. There's no news on Lange. There's no news on Lange whatsoever. So I think people might have jumped the gun on Lange leaving. I haven't heard anything yet. Subbed, Wenger out. Big out, Mr. M. Big up to you. How many people like the stream now? 120, 133. Big up to you all. Big up to you all. What are we on? We are just over 50 away from 6k. Just over 50 away from 6k. Big up to you all for jumping in. Yeah, big up to you. Yeah, it's all look. I'm still learning the ropes. I'm still learning the ropes. I think once I've done a full year, then I'll have a better idea of like, how all this works. And I spent hours today doing the transfer stuff. So I hope I'm glad that you guys appreciate it. Obviously, some people put in the comments, this is a really poor delivery, but I don't know if that meant me or if that meant the information that I'm delivering. But obviously, if you guys have feedback, I'm always open to feedback in a nice way, not like your stream shit, but like in a nice way. Like, if people are like, oh, we really want to see this, or it's better when you present it like this, I'm always open to suggestions, guys, because ultimately this is like an open conversation, but I want it to be the best experience for you guys. Spurs are back. You know it. You know it, banking. You know it. Svensson. I don't know about Sven. I haven't heard anything. I'll put it on my list. I'll put it on my list with the 100 other names. I swear there was 36 names at the start of this. I think we're about 60 names now. Um, anyway, let's see. Thank you very much, Ivor. Big up to you. Yeah, take care, people. We will do I'll probably do another live at the end of this week. I do miss you guys. I don't know. I don't know, surreal. I don't know. I don't know. Constructive, yes, constructive feedback. Exactly. Yeah, look, I want to make these streams better. And I know transfer news, not everyone's into it. I know the World Cup, not everyone's into it, but I watch the World Cup. So I figured if I'm going to watch it and I enjoy it, I want to just, wherever the heart goes, wherever the, you know, stream goes, then we'll follow it. So yeah. Oh, big up, James. Thank you very much. Thank you. Totally unnecessary, but thank you. You're doing brilliantly. Best Spurs Forum. Well, thank you. I don't know. So, as I said, it's a work in progress. So sometimes I come off of here and I'm like, did I chat to you guys too much? Was it not enough? Do we need more information? Do you know what I mean? Like that's a bit the imposter in me. How did I get this crown? I don't know what crown, but yeah, big up. Thank you very much, James. Appreciate you. But yeah, I hope you're having fun, even if we do have a couple of rivals in the chat. But big up to you all. We will be back later this week. I will keep an eye out. Still waiting for the Johan Lang news. Who knows when that's going to come. Also, I did say we were going to touch on the World Cup stuff. We are now 9 days out of the World Cup. So I'm just keeping an eye. Oh, actually, on that point, what is the score? What is the score? Croatia still 1-0 down to Belgium. The deal with Vuskovic is he is still on the pitch. Everyone else has been subbed off except Vuskovic. Everyone has been subbed off except Vuskovic. They are 77 minutes in. Every single player except Vuskovic has been subbed off. That's a bit strange, no? Obviously, they like him, but he's got a 6.7 so far in that game. Romania is still 0-0. 40 minutes in. There's no updates on the performance yet of Dragusin in that game. And the other game tonight is Wales-Ghana. And of course, Ben Davis and Kudus are both out injured, so neither of them are playing. And interestingly, nor is Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson, I don't think is named in that squad either. Random. Okay, guys, what are you guys saying? Oh, big up to you guys. Thank you. Thank you, Trevor. Um, Kickoff times in the UK for the World Cup are early hours. Yeah, it's until the first couple are at 8, 9 p.m. And then after that, if we finish second in the group, and then that game will be at like 1 in the morning. So if I am a bit of a night bird, to be honest, a night bird, is that a thing? I don't know if that's a thing. There's not such thing as a night bird. There's an early bird, but there ain't no night bird. I think that's a saying. But yeah, I'm a bit of a night owl. That's the word, a night owl. I've lost the plot. I've lost the plot, guys. But yeah, I'm a bit of a night owl. So if there are any late games for the World Cup, and I don't go down to the pub, then I probably will just cover them on here, to be honest. And also, it's nice to, share the experience with you guys as well. But I do have some exciting stuff planned for the World Cup. So keep your eyes peeled. Keep your eyes peeled. Big up, Scooby Snacks. Big up. Have you not been here since we stayed up? Where you been, mate? Where you been? You open for anything else? I don't know. I don't know if I want to answer that one. Vuskovic looks all right. Croatia looks much better. Oh, you watching? You watching? Croatia looks much better. They scored quite early on though, didn't they? Big up to you. Thank you. Thank you. Marlborough man. Marlborough man. Marlborough man. Big up to you. Who do you support? We keep it real. We keep it real. Life's too short. Oh, you a fellow Udet. You're a Udet. Big up to you, Emma. Big up to you. It is nice to hear fellow Udet. Exactly, exactly. Night bird sounds better than night owl. Yeah, you can tell I've lost the plot. Right, guys. Big up to you all. Thanks for joining. Had a lot of fun today. More news to come. Let's see what happens overnight. Maybe Savinho gets signed by the end of the week, and then we finish this week with 3 signings before the window's even open. Imagine that. That would be a difference, wouldn't it? All of you are night owl, night owl, night owl. Yeah, I got that. I got that, guys. I got that. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm watching Legends at the moment. Totally off piece, but I'm watching Legends. Really enjoying that show. So if anyone's looking for something to watch, Netflix Legends, very good. But no spoilers in the chat, please. If you've made it this far, I'm watching it on repeat. All right, guys. Every time it's like a systemic frog. Last time I was like, no, you go, no, you go. Are we being linked with old targets because Lange is completely incompetent? No, I think it's just who's available. I think it's just who's available, who's within budget, the positions that we still need the same positions that we needed in the January transfer window, don't we? So, yeah, I said Nightbird. I know I've lost the plot. Right, guys. Big up to you all. I'll see you all in the next video. Have a lovely evening or day wherever you're watching this, and I'll see you all very soon in the next video.